After how good the last 2 waves of the Mario Kart Booster Course Pass were, I didn't think Nintendo was going to be able to top them. But then they did the unthinkable and gave us the greatest Christmas present of all time, Wave Free. I don't know how they did it, but somehow Nintendo managed to make even better tracks than the last time. So I suppose that means I'm naturally obligated to rank the best and the worst tracks from Wave Free. I'll mainly be basing this list on how fun the tracks are and how they compare to their original versions. And before I begin, make sure to subscribe so that you can keep up with all of my wacky shenanigans. I know this channel's really small, but any support you can give is really appreciated. Anyways, let's rank these awesome tracks, shall we? Starting off this list, we have Tours London Loop. I remember playing this track when it first came out, and I'm very happy to have the chance to play it again. This course features a lot of narrow roads and sharp turns, similar to how they are in Europe. It also contains a lot of real-life landmarks from London as well, like Big Ben, St. Paul's Cathedral, and so many others. Like seriously, I could make an entire video talking about all the landmarks in this track alone, but I'm not gonna do that. The overall layout of the track is very enjoyable as well. Of course, it does help that it's one of those tracks that contains 3 different laps, and it's done really well here. My favorite part has to be on the 3rd lap, when all the chain chomps get loose and start running about wrecking havoc. Or what about the part where you get to trick off the drawbridge that moves up and down? And who could forget about the road with all the double-decker buses? This track really is amazing, and I've gotta say, the music isn't at all what I imagine British music sounding like, but it's such a bop that I don't even care. I really wish that I didn't have to put this track at the bottom of this list, but unfortunately, one of them had to take the fall. Even though this course is my least favorite of the bunch, it's still a really excellent track that definitely deserves more recognition. Next on this list is Tours Berlin Byways. It's the same song and dance as London Loop, except now we're in Germany. Once again, every lap here is different, leading to a more diverse course layout. It's got lots of sharp turns and a bunch of cars you have to avoid along the way. There's also a lot of boost panels and ramps, which only add to the fun. Overall, I found this one to be more difficult than London Loop due to all the vehicles on the road, but I also feel like it has more variety. You'll race on a subway, under the Brandenburg Gate, through a park, and even past the Berlin Wall. That's an interesting thing to include, seeing how many people suffered under its standing, but okay. And what's with the music on this track? It sounds like it came straight out of Geometry Dash or something. I mean, hey, I'm not complaining or anything. It's just a little strange. Every part of this track is filled with creativity, and I know that no matter what, it'll show you a good time. You know that the Booster Course Pass is really amazing when I have to put one of the greatest Mario Kart tracks of all time near the bottom. I love 3DS Rock Mountain, but unfortunately, I don't think this one lives up to the original. The most noticeable change is the graphics. Like with some of the tracks from previous waves, the visuals aren't nearly as impressive as the base game. Some things look okay, but the mountain itself looks atrocious, and the trees are so bland that I throw up in my mouth a little every time I see them. It's not the biggest game changer in the world, but it certainly feels out of place compared to the rest of the tracks. Aside from that, there really aren't any other major changes. You still drive through a cave in the beginning and glide through the mountains in the middle, and at the end, you still drive up the side of the mountain, except now, it's an anti-gravity section. I don't mind the change, but they replaced some of the dash panels for spin boost pillars, and it's not nearly as exhilarating as it used to be. This is an okay remake at best, but there's definitely better versions of this track out there. If there's one thing we don't have enough of in Mario Kart, it's spooky themed tracks. And luckily, GBA Boo Lake has made a spectacular return in Wave Free. The course immediately starts off with a bang, with ramps and sharp turns being the main obstacle. After a split path, you'll enter anti-gravity before submerging underwater on a twisted road. There's a lot of tight turns down there, but it isn't long before you're tricking your way to the finish line. Every part of this track is so much fun, and is the exact definition of what a retro track should be. I mean, it's always a good time when a retro track feels like a brand new stage. That's when you know you've got something special. Now, with all that being said, there's just one tiny problem I have with this track. It's too short. Every time I play this level, I feel like it's over way too quickly. I understand that it's a Super Circuit track and all, but I don't feel like I have this problem with other tracks from that game. Like I said, it really doesn't matter all that much in the end. No matter how you slice it, this will always be one amazing track. I'm not gonna lie, I was really conflicted as to where to put DS Peach Gardens on this list. On one hand, we have a remake of an okay track at best, but on the other hand, it's Peach Gardens! I grew up with Mario Kart DS, so naturally, I'm pretty biased towards these tracks. But damn it, Nintendo just had to pull another Wario Stadium and change half the track. Why do you have to do this, guys? Why mess with perfection? So this track is pretty different from the original version. It's mostly smaller changes, like the removal of several shortcuts. But there's also some bigger changes, like the addition of this new piranha plant. The whole thing feels a little off, but it's still Peach Gardens at the end of the day, no questions about it. But then you get to the third lap, and all of a sudden, you're going for this completely new area. Then the next thing you know, you're driving through the course backwards, and oh my gosh, this is so wrong! Like, it works, but why? No other track in the Booster Course Pass, aside from the tour tracks, is like this. I will admit that the new gliding section is really cool, and it's pretty neat that you can fly through all of the new character hedges, but why? Why would you change such an amazing track, Nintendo? It didn't need any improvements, it was already perfect, why? That's it, I can't take it anymore. Stupid, lousy track. I mean, wow, what a great track, guys! Wow, yippee! Look, I know that I just went on a rant about how awful all these changes are, but they're really not that bad. All of the new additions are fun, and mix up the course in a new and exciting way. As long as you're not a hardcore, no-nonsense Mario Kart DS fan like myself, I can assure you that this track will certainly be one of your favorites. Oh, Merry Christmas! Oh wait, those aren't my lines. Well, I guess I'll just have to improvise my review of Tour's Merry Mountain. I have very fond memories of playing this track in Tour when it first came out, and I'm very excited to see it back in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Most Tour tracks are based on real-life places, like London and Berlin, but this one's unique in that this place doesn't actually exist. If any of you out there are Santa believers, I'm so sorry. The track starts off in a Christmas-themed village with sparkly lights and holiday decorations everywhere. From there, you can choose to continue on the road up the mountain, or drive up the train tracks along the edge. After that, you'll continue ascending the icy mountain before being sent into anti-gravity. Then you'll make a sharp turn, and drive down the steep mountainside with a graceful glide to finish it off. This is absolutely magical. It's by far one of the best Mario Kart tracks I've ever played, and is truly unlike any other. I mean, they even brought back the half pipes from Mario Kart Wii! All I know is that this track is a joy to race on, and is one that everyone needs to try. Oh my gosh! How could I possibly put 3DS Rainbow Road in anything besides number 1? The truth is, this isn't my favorite Rainbow Road. I much prefer the likes of DS and Wii's Rainbow Roads, but this one isn't too bad either. It's got more creativity than almost any other track in the entire series, so let's get into it already. The track starts off with some basic turns and a few ramps, but it isn't long before you enter a downwards helix. The next thing you know, you're gliding through space and driving on the rings of Saturn. Then the road gets all twisty for a while, but it's okay, because after that, you're driving on the literal moon doing tricks off of all of the craters. Then the third lap starts up, the music picks up, and you're driving through this huge tube with dash panels spinning all around. And it all ends with a beautiful glide through an asteroid field before you turn back around towards the finish line. And I know this is gonna sound repetitive and all, but damn is this a good track. There isn't a single moment where I feel bored on this track because there's always something new being thrown your way. The course layout contains some of the most unique elements I've ever seen in a racing game, and it's truly something you just have to experience. And I just have to mention the visuals as well. If you thought Rainbow Roads looked good before this one, well boy are you missing out. The translucent road combined with the majestic sky helped to create one of the most beautiful video game levels of all time. This track does so many things right that it's near perfection, but there is one other track from this wave that's just a little bit better than this. You already know what it is. How could I possibly give the number 1 spot to anything other than Wii Maple Treeway? I know I'm speaking with a lot of bias here, but this is one of the greatest Mario Kart tracks of all time. Come on, don't deny it. You know this track is better than Rainbow Road, and for a lot of different reasons. The majority of this level takes place on a large tree in the middle of autumn, and it looks really cool. There's just something so warm and inviting about all of the red and orange leaves everywhere, and the track itself is even better. You'll drive through piles of leaves, dodge life-size wigglers, and even go inside the tree at one point. And at the end, we make an epic glide to the finish. I personally prefer the bridge from the original, but the gliding section is just as fun. Plus, there's another area where you can use a half-pipe, which is just splendid! And I'd be a fool if I didn't mention the music at least once. Sure, it's not as good as the original, but that hasn't stopped it from getting stuck in my head a million times already. So that begs the question, do I prefer this remake over the original track? No, of course not, but it's still got just as much charm and creativity as that one. I know it's a hot take, but no matter what you say, this will always be my favorite track from Wave Free. Well, that's all for today. Leave a comment down below telling me what your favorite tracks are from Wave Free, and don't forget to like and subscribe while you're at it. Now then, I have to get back to playing these tracks, or else Nintendo might come after me again. Goodbye.